Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is regarded to many as one of, if not the best Call of Duty games in the entire franchise, and I agree with those people. You know, it's either between Black Ops 2 and Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2, already made a video on that. I do believe it's a little overrated in some aspects, but Black Ops 2 as a whole, I agree with all the praise. I mean, this game is a true masterpiece. It's not, overrated in any way, shape, or form. I think what people give it is what it deserves. From the campaign to the multiplayer to the zombies, the game is top tier. Like most COD games, there's certain game modes that I enjoy, and then there's some game modes I don't enjoy, and it's like, oh, well, the multiplayer was good, but the campaign wasn't that good, or the campaign was really good, but the multiplayer was meh, or the zombies is really good, but everything else is not that good. Usually that's how, the COD games go. Black Ops 2 is a major exception because I love the campaign, one of the best in the franchise, probably top 3. The multiplayer, I would say, is the best multiplayer we've ever had. Zombies is within the top 2 best zombies experiences I've ever had. So all the modes in this game are top tier. So all that together just makes for a almost perfect game. Of course there's problems with it, and I'm going to go over those problems in this video, but there's not that many. You're going to be hearing a lot of praise in this video, so get ready to just... a lot of positive vibes, Let's get into the full review of Call of Duty Black Ops 2, which released in November of 2012. Let's start off with the campaign, which, yes, it was a really, really good campaign. The entirety of it. It's not better than Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, but I think it's definitely the top 3 best campaigns of all time. So, what do I love about this campaign? First of all, it was the first campaign to really have a lot of cutscenes, because previously we don't really have cutscenes. We had those little intro sequences in the campaigns, which weren't really all that crazy, but we never had full-on, fully rendered cutscenes. This was the first campaign to do that. And they really added a lot to the story. It made it feel more like a movie compared to just like feeling like a game. It started to feel more cinematic because of that, which I really, really love. The story is amazing. It's one of the most interesting storylines of the entire... Black Ops series overall was really interesting. The first 2 Black Ops, of course. Really, really enjoyed the story behind the universe and what was happening with the drones. I loved the whole cyber warfare that was going on, the technological warfare, how there was these drones being used, and then they took them over, they hacked them, and then they used them against them. In the last 2 missions, you had to fight against all these drones that were being controlled by Menendez's people. Awesome stuff, awesome stuff. Menendez as a character is one of the most interesting villains in, I think, TV show movie history. I mean, he's up there with freaking all the great villains. Amazing. Just like Makarov, I really like Makarov as well. Same as Thanos, same as the Joker, same as freaking Negan. Love all those villains. Menendez is one of those great ones as well. I love the story behind him with his sister and how his sister died, and then he wants to revenge against Frank, and how he's not really just like he's not just a psychotic murderer. Like, he's not just going around murdering people. He's really being strategic about his terrorist attacks. Like, he didn't want to just go kill the president. He wanted to make her see destruction of Los Angeles in that one mission. And that interests me. I like villains that have depth to them and aren't just crazy people who just want to kill everyone. He has layers and he has... His acting's great too. Whoever voice acts him, fantastic job. I love the choices too, which I didn't think I would, because sometimes choices make, the endings a little bit difficult. But considering this was the last game that followed this story, because Black Ops 3 was in the same universe, but it didn't really follow the same story. It didn't really matter, but the choices and all different endings just made for the campaign to be a lot more replayable, because like I said, campaign are not usually replayable. They don't really have that much depth to them in terms of replay value. You just play it once, you enjoy the story, and then you maybe play it again just for nostalgia in a few years. But this campaign actually makes you want to play it again and again and again, because you can see all the different endings and see, oh, you can do this differently, you can do that differently, and not even the bigger choices. You can do such small things differently, like there's different access panels, you can get different weapons that you don't have to do, but you can do it to kind of spice up the gameplay a little bit, and that is great. Love that so much. And the choices are pretty impactful too. They make a huge difference in the ending. Whether you kill Menendez, take him captive, you could shoot Harper as playing Fareed, or you can not shoot him. But if you do shoot him, it'll actually save Karma's life, so you can have Karma live, or you can let Karma get captured by DeFalco, or you can kill DeFalco and he would be alive in the end. So many different situations that really impact the ending a lot. Personally, my favorite ending is keeping Menendez alive and having Karma die, so Menendez basically gets the ability to take over the drones again, but he kills himself after he kills Woods. I love that ending a lot. There's a couple other endings people like of course Mason still being alive. I don't really like that ending that much because it felt more like closure having Mason die. Like because the only way you can make him survive is if you don't shoot him in the head. But why would Woods not shoot him in the head if he thinks it's Menendez? You know what I mean? So I didn't really like doing that. I like story, you know what I mean? And I feel like story-wise, it made more sense to have Mason be dead. He's gone, out of the picture, and really made it for an impactful mission as well. That was an emotional-ass mission. Soundtrack, just like every other campaign before this, amazing soundtrack. Some awesome scenes. I mean, who could forget one of the coolest scenes in COD campaign history when you're fighting in that goddamn nightclub? That is so damn awesome.
Let's kill that sick fuck. Kill left! Moving! Let's go! The main doors are out! Left man! Set! DeFalco has Karma. We're in pursuit. We need you to track the movements, Fareed. We can't let him get off the ship.
So yeah, when you got some awesome stuff like that happening, it really just makes for an all-around awesome campaign. You got the mission where Menendez goes crazy and you can play as him and you just slice and dice people. You have the mission where you have to shoot Mason, which is really good. Karma, one of my favorite missions of all time, which was the mission you were just seeing. The final two missions, the fight in Los Angeles, the big battle, awesome stuff. The fight on the battle, I could say, on the Obama, which was the ship, that was an awesome mission. Just so many cool missions in this game that just made for a fantastic experience, and I think this is one of the most replayable campaigns. I think this is one of the most action-packed and exciting. I mean, yeah, Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 as a whole, I think, are better, but this game still has so much substance to it, and the characters are great too. David Mason, you get to play as Alex Mason in the past again. You get to play as Frank Woods. You get to obviously be beside Harper the whole game, which is awesome. I mean, Michael Rooker is a great voice actor. He's a great actor in general. So having him side by side with you is a ton of fun. And Salazar was a cool character, but obviously he ended up being a bad dude, but he was still a cool character. Briggs was dope. I mean, you didn't really play with him, but you still get to talk to him in the cutscenes and stuff like that, and that was awesome. I really wanted Black Ops 3 to expand on this story and, the story of the Masons and stuff like that, but I understand why they didn't, because obviously the different endings just made it difficult for them. That's why they went with the same universe, just different characters, and then of course Black Ops 4 just dropped the whole campaign idea and instead kind of had the story being pushed into multiplayer, Blackout, Specialist HQ, and then focusing more on the zombie story, which is obvious. But yeah, campaign is going to get a solid 18 out of 20 score for the final verdict. I think that's fair for campaign, because campaign's great in this game, but it's not perfect. I think the only issues I would have is it does feel a little short. You can complete this pretty quickly, and some of the missions do seem a little over the top and cliche, but I don't really mind that at all. It's a video game, who gives a shit? So it's a great campaign, and yeah, gets 18 out of 20. And then we get to Call of Duty Black Ops 2's multiplayer, which, to be honest, only has 3 problems with it. 3 things. Only 3 things I could think of that I don't like about this game. And one of them is pretty big, but the other 2 are pretty minor. So, first of all, the game has overall just bad hit detection and overall connection. And this is a pretty big thing. Only if you get into those scenarios. There can be some times where you get a really smooth feeling game, which is great, but there could also be some times where you get into a game that is just absolutely trash connection and you're just lagging and the hit detection's bad, and that's always terrible, and I feel like it happens a lot in this game. It tends to happen more in Treyarch games than it does in Infinity Ward games or Sledgehammer games, which is kind of weird, but it sucks when it happens because you're just like, come on, you're just trying to have a good time and enjoy the game, and then it's bad. It happens a lot. Right now, the game is also really badly modded and hacked on Xbox 360, which I don't want to hold that against the game too much, but it's definitely something to think about at least, because not every COD is like that, you know? Even like Black Ops 1 is better optimized than that. You have less hackers on that game. But I guess it also has to do with how popular the game is. There's obviously going to be more people who are going to want to do stuff like hack it. Then we have the other two problems, which are small things, but still kind of count as a problem. Sniping is way too easy in this game. It is very frustrating to die by snipers. One of the most painful feelings in the world is to die by a sniper in this game because it happens so often. The aim assist is just way too high in the snipers. If they just decrease the aim assist a little bit, I think it would make for much better balance if you just decrease the aim assist. That's all you have to do. And then it would be more balanced. But the snipers were really overpowered in this game. And the C4s were ridiculously overpowered. You toss those things in the air, boom, boom, it's your game over. You're done. You're donezo, which is so frustrating. But then we get into the good, because there's a lot of good things about this multiplayer. It's easily the most balanced multiplayer. In terms of everything else besides the snipers and C4s, everything's so balanced. From the ARs, the SMGs, I can use any AR, any SMG, and I'm gonna do okay, you know? There's not one that I feel like is more superior than another, you know what I mean? There's not one that's so shit that it's like there's no reason to ever touch it, and there's not one that's like so godly that it's the only reason you can only use that gun. There's no other gun you should use. No, there's a ton I can name. I can name AA94, MSMC, PDW, Scorpion Evo, tons of useful weapons, and they're awesome and iconic. Some of the most funnest guns to use in COD history. Easily the best maps ever. I mean, you got Raid, Standoff, Hijacked. You got Nuketown coming back, and a bunch of other really good remakes in the DLC, which was really cool because they had a ton of awesome DLC maps as well. Just awesome ones. Score streaks being powerful as hell and fun as hell. So not only were they really, really good, but they were also fun to use. You need a balance between both of them. Score streaks can't just be good, they need to be fun as well. And that's what score streaks were in this game. They were fun to use, and they were good, so they were rewarding. Them being score streaks overall was awesome too. I think point streaks was a huge innovation for MW3, but making them score just made it a little bit easier. And I liked score streaks a lot more than kill streaks because it actually encourages people to play the damn objective, so they ain't sitting on their asses in domination not doing shit. It just makes for much better games, and it makes a lot of other modes fair in some ways. TDM doesn't really work that well with it. I think TDM should be by default you get 125 points per kill, and then it would be a little bit more fair since that's like the only way to earn points in TDM, that and assists, and you know, that's basically it. But Hardpoint, the addition of Hardpoint, which is easily one of my favorite game modes in COD history. It first appeared in Black Ops 2 and has become a staple in every COD game since then. It's like now up there with Domination, Kill Confirmed, S&D, all those other modes that are like a staple in COD. Pig tent system, first time they introduced that, allowed for so much more customization and so many more options. So this game was pretty innovative in that nature, in the customization field, definitely. Some of the best camos we've ever had. I mean, this is when camos started being crazy, and it was not just the same dust, woodland, digital camos that we had in previous CODs. They started going crazy with them. You had like dragon camo, cyborg camo, weaponized Mod 5. Some people don't like that. Some people wanted to say more realistic. But come on, it's a video game. Have some fun, right? The diamond camo was sexy in this game. Easily one of the best camos we've ever had in COD history. The futuristic theme was different, you know, it made for different gameplay. If we had another modern game, we would have more modern weapons, it would get too stale. I liked how they went to the future in this game because it changed up the pace. We've seen World War II, we've seen the Cold War, we've seen modern era. Let's do the future. That was the only option I think they had in this game, and they hit the nail on the head. Did they overdo it in the future? Yes, they definitely did. They overdid the futuristic setting in Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare. They just kept doing it, Advanced Warfare. It got a little crazy, but I think this game definitely needed to go with that setting, and it wasn't too far in the future. It was just far enough to the point where it made the guns different, it made the weapons different, it made the kill streaks different, it made everything feel different, and that was so important to the gameplay. The overall community surrounding upon this multiplayer was also a lot of fun. I mean, just remember the good old days when you used to play with your friends. This game had a ton of stuff going on with that. You have League Play. The first time this game really became insanely competitive was within League Play. League Play was such a well-designed system, and it made for very competitive matches online. And then also tons of tournaments and stuff like that were created based off this game. This is when COD started becoming more competitive, which a lot of people don't like. They like it when it's more casual, but I think a lot of the CODs have done a good, job at balancing fun as well as competitiveness, and kind of keeping them a little bit separate in some ways. And I think this game did a good job with that as well. You had the party game modes coming back, of course, from Black Ops 1. There wasn't really any new ones. They just had the same ones, but they were still just as fun as they were in Black Ops 1, so that's a plus. You had some fun party modes to play here and there. The game looks beautiful, too. Some of the best graphics we ever had in COD history. Definitely for its time, for sure. The HUD was clean as hell. Absolutely love the HUD. And yeah, that's about all I can say about the multiplayer. I'm going to give this score a 39 out of 40. Yes, a 39 out of 40. That is a hell of a good score. But it's just what it deserves, man. I don't really know what else to say. It deserves that good of a score. And I'm glad it's getting that. So that is, of course, Call of Duty Black Ops 2's multiplayer. And now we are on to zombies. Man, oh man, am I excited to talk about zombies. So zombies in this game is a hit or miss for a lot of people because of the maps that are available. This game was very, very unique with its maps. They had kind of the maps split off with Jimmy Zielinski maps and Jason Blundell maps. Jimmy Zielinski maps were Transit, Nuketown, Buried, and Die Rise, as well as, I guess, the grief mode and turn modes for all those different maps. And then the Blundell maps were Mob of the Dead and Origins. So that's kind of what they decided to do. And then obviously Blundell took over in Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4 with his new story and his new creations and stuff like that, and the way that he does maps, which personally I do like Blundell's maps a lot better than Zielinski maps. People might disagree with me on that, but I am a bigger fan of Blundell's style of maps, just the way they play, the way they work. I love them. Let's talk about this zombies mode as a whole, though. I would say it's my second favorite zombies mode we've ever had, but the maps, it's interesting because there's some really bad maps in this game, but there's also some really good ones. Origins and Mob of the Dead are the two best maps of all time, easily. Buried is in the top 10 probably, so it deserves to be, recognized a little bit. But then Transit, Die Rise, and Nuketown, in my opinion, are some of the worst maps we've ever had. And even all the side maps like Farm, Bus Depot, Town, they all kind of stink too. I mean, Town's okay, Town's kind of fun sometimes. It's still not that good. I think the other three maps that I mentioned, Buried, Mob of the Dead, and Origins, severely make up for the other maps though. That's why this game definitely gets more praise than it does. I think if the zombie mode didn't have Mob of the Dead and Origins, and it was just everything else, Black Ops 2 might be like a little bit lower in my ranking of all the CODs. Like right now, of course, number one, but I think my second place, which right now I think is Black Ops 3, would probably be number one because of the zombies mode alone. I mean, zombies is important to me. It's just as important in multiplayer, right? Campaign's a little lower for importance, but zombies is just as important to me as multiplayer. So when a mode sucks, it's gonna affect the game. But this mode, I don't think it sucks. I think the mechanics are really good. I think the graphics are pretty good. I think you got a few masterpieces in there, and then you have a few good ones, and then a few bad ones, but that makes for different gameplay. I mean, although Transit, Die Rise, to me are bad maps, they're still kind of entertaining sometimes. I can hop on with friends and have a good time, which isn't a terrible thing at all. One of my favorite things about this game, though, is what I mentioned before, that the maps feel so different from one another. Every map has unique weapons, unique perks. You don't get that in other COD Zombies games. Look at Black Ops 4. Every map has the same perks, the same guns, the same everything. I mean, obviously not everything. There's obviously unique wonder weapons and unique locations and unique equipment sometimes, not all the time. But I'm over-exaggerating when I say that. But for the most part, a lot of the stuff stays the same on the maps. Because, the guns, when they add a new guns to DLC, they go to every map. They add new perks for the DLC, They go to every map. Instead of this game where they kind of made it unique. Some perks only showed up on certain maps. Like, you couldn't get stamina up on every map. So there would be a map you would just have to deal without stamina up. There would be a map where you had to deal without mule kick. There would have to be a map where you have to deal without Deadshot. I mean, obviously the 4 main perks would stay there always. They never got rid of the 4 original. But they would, kind of mess around with the other ones and try to see, oh, maybe you won't be able to do so good in this map because you don't have your perks, Which makes for interesting gameplay. The guns, too. You had some guns that only showed up on some maps. A94 didn't show up on Mob of the Dead and Origins, You can only get certain guns a certain way. I wish they brought that back. I mean, Black Ops 3 kind of had that a little bit. They had PPSH, just Garad. The reason why I like that is because it makes maps worth playing even if they're not that good of a map. You know what I mean? Like, when I hop on Black Ops 3, the only motivation I have to want to play Zetsubo is the fact that I can get the Marshall 16s on that map. You can't get those on any other map. If I want to use the Marshalls, it's going to force me to play that map. Cool. It gives me a reason to play more maps and have different variety in my playstyle rather than playing the same good maps. Like in Black Ops 4, I only want to play the good maps. I only want to play 9, Ancient Evil, and Alpha Omega. I don't want to play Blood of the Dead or Voyage or Dead of the Night because those maps just aren't as fun to me as the other ones I mentioned. But they all have the same guns and perks, so who really cares? If I want to level up a gun, I don't have to go on a specific map. I can play whatever map I want. See, that sounds like a good thing, but that limits playstyle. That limits changes in what I play. Now, of course, they did add the contracts, which kind of force you to play certain maps based on what the daily contract is, which kind of eliminates that problem because I'm forced to play Dead of the Night. I'm forced to play Voyage of Despair sometimes, which I like that. You might be wondering, why is that a good thing? I like that. I like being forced to do things in video games because, well, not forced, but being, encouraged because of rewards, because it gets me to do things that I wouldn't normally do. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I like. And this game did that. There's maps I don't want to play. I don't want to play Die Rise, but I know if I hop on it, I can use the A94, or I can use Who's Who. I can't use it on any other map. Buried. Buried's got unique shit. You got Vulturade. You can't use Vulturade on any other map. I like that a lot. Electric Cherry and Vulturade were awesome perks as well. They were the 2 perks that were introduced in this game, as well as Tombstone and Who's Who, but those perks sucked. Let's put that in the negatives. And that's really all I got to say about this game, man. I mean, the Zombies mode itself. It's really enjoyable. I love Origins of Mob of the Dead so much, and I think that's what kind of sets it above the rest. This is also the first Zombies mode to introduce buildables, which are a huge part of the Zombies today, and I think it just adds some more fun to the maps, so I like the buildables at least. And it was also the first Zombies game to have cutscenes. You had an Easter egg cutscene within the ending. Not like cutscenes itself. They did have cutscenes in Black Ops 1 with the Call of the Dead. That was the first ever actual cutscene. Well, no, 5 had a cutscene. Ooh, yeah, I forgot about 5. But I'm talking about Easter egg cutscenes. The first time you had an Easter egg reward cutscene was in Origins. I mean, the first time they actually really did some crazy stuff with Easter eggs was in this game. I mean, you had blowing up the moon and blowing up the Earth and moon, which was cool. But I don't think it really got all that crazy cinematic until this game. Soundtracks. Oof, the soundtracks. First time in Zombies, they finally started adding, specific, unique soundtracks for each map while you're playing, with different round change music, so it wasn't just the same sound every, game. And the Easter egg songs are pretty good as well. Great stuff. But it's not perfect. I'm going to give Zombies a 36 out of 40. Really good score, but like I said, it's not perfect. Zombies in this game is, definitely in my heart as one of the best, but like I said, not my favorite. So we are finally leading into the final verdict of Call of Duty Black Ops 2. And yes, the score is the best score I've given any Call of Duty game so far, which is a 93%. That is incredible. That is an incredible score. The highest rated Call of Duty, in my opinion. Do I want to give it a higher score? Yes, but there are some minor problems that kind of add up to making it not perfect. I don't think anything's perfect. I don't think anything deserves the perfect title. When I'm calling it a masterpiece, I don't mean it's actually perfect, but it's almost there. It's almost there. I think with a few touch-ups on the multiplayer, maybe just some better zombie maps instead of Transit and Die Rise, and maybe just a little bit longer of a campaign, and then I would think it would be 99 out of 100, maybe even higher. But regardless, It deserves the score I gave it in every single way, shape, and form. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think about Black Ops 2 in the comments section below. Is it your favorite Call of Duty, or is it just, you know, up there as one of your favorites? Or do you hate it? Do you hate this game? I don't think anybody does, to be completely honest. I'm very excited to get into the next generation of Call of Duty games. We finally finished all last-gen CODs. There's 6 last-gen that we were reviewing, and then 6 next-gen CODs that we have left to do. And then that'll be, of course, leading up to the brand new Call of Duty Modern Warfare coming out this October. I probably won't finish all 6 of them before then. Maybe I will. I don't know. I hope I do, but, you know, life gets in the way. And if I don't, I'll just continue them as time goes on. You know, I can continue them into when Modern Warfare comes out. It doesn't really matter that much. We have Ghosts to do, which is going to be fun. I'm going to have to replay that campaign and see what's going on there and try to get into the lobbies. I don't know how I'm going to get into lobbies in that game. That's going to be a struggle and a half. But we'll try nonetheless. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.